to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Your fire exits are immediate to the left and right of you. If there's an incident, you'll be notified from the podium. Please leave in a peaceful and orderly manner.
Mr. Mayor, having a hard time getting that coat button these days, aren't you?
Everybody turn their head the other way. Open the meeting for comments from the public at this time. Anybody who wishing to address the board may do so.
Just getting it in. Thank you.
I'm sorry, Celine.
That's okay.
You're not the public, but that's all right.
I'm not the public. I brought some extras. I don't know if you need them. We did. Each of the
Any of us have
trustees.
seen any yet.
Oh, okay.
So,
Have you seen these? No. Oh, well, I'm glad I brought a few here for you. Maybe you'll need more. Let me know if you need more. Okay. It's a new county directory. As you probably read in the paper, we opened our terminal bids. We hope to start building later this summer and complete in 2006, our new airport terminal. The bids came in a little higher than we anticipated, but I think we can still make it. The jail is progressing nicely. We have 2 pods that will be open May 15th, and one of the pods is for our federal prisoners, and which means we're going to get income from that. So we're looking forward to that, because it is a $23 million debt that we've incurred with this. We're currently boarding over 25 prisoners out, so that becomes very, very expensive. Not only the daily rate, but having to take them wherever there's a bed available, and it could be Warren County or it could be Buffalo. You never know where there's a bed available. Sales tax continues to come in as projected or as budgeted, which is good for the towns and villages. So we're pleased with that. Cumberland Head Road is on schedule. You probably saw the trees that were cut down, and this will be a nice addition to getting to the ferry. We're also looking at redoing our human services building. You probably read today's paper how one of the city council was upset with us, but we've been working with the mayor on that. And that was our best alternative, was to do some restoration and some renovation of our current building and adding to it. The county auction is June 23rd. We have 44 parcels. It's the smallest number ever. We only have 2 parcels within the town of Champlain. One is in Rouses Point on Rose Avenue, a vacant lot, and one is on Route 11 in the town in Champlain. It's a mobile home. So that's very good.
That's good.
It improves every year. We're finishing up our road program this year, and in the town of Champlain, we're doing a Dudley Road, Mason, Ridge, and Meridian for 8 and some miles. So we have $700 and some thousand worth of road projects in the town. Other than that, I don't think I have anything unless you have something for me.
Lord?
You know where to reach me.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for waiting.
Pardon? Okay. Do you need more? Oh, okay.
Yeah. Anybody else wish to address the board at this time? If not, you'll have a chance at the end of the meeting. Minutes of the previous meeting of May 2nd, 2005. Board all have copies. Is there any addition or deletions?
I'll move that we accept the minutes as written.
Second.
Moved by trustee Penfield, seconded by trustee Moore. Any discussion? No discussion. All those in favor, vote by the usual sign of aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carried. Bills. You all have copies of the bills. Is there any addition or deletions?
I have a couple comments. I want to point out that we have a new format here. It uses a lot less pages. I think it's easier to read, and it gives you totals by fund, plus a grand total. And we have one bill to add. It's to New York Power Authority for $65,364.79.
Move we pay them as amended.
Second.
Moved by trustee Huckrow, seconded by trustee Penfield. Any discussion? There being no discussion, all those in favor vote by usual sign of aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carried. Correspondence.
We have a letter from Rodney Wright, Commander, American Post number 912 Legion. It's addressed to the mayor. We are nearing the time for our poppy sale, which is generally held at places of business or on the sidewalk, meeting workers as they report for work. We respectfully request permission to do this and ask it be brought up at the next meeting and be advised. Thank you sincerely, Rodney Wright.
Need a motion.
Make a motion to let them.
Motion by trustee Moore.
Second.
Second by trustee Otto. Any discussion? There being no discussion, all those in favor vote by the usual sign of aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carried.
And the next letter was the letter received from Jim King, Emergency Services Director. He's asking us to identify who our delegate and alternate delegate for the fire department. And he has been sent a letter telling that Brian Pelkey is the delegate and Walt Laramie is the alternate delegate. The next little memo we have is from Attorney Weintraub. He sends his note, "Dear Board, please approve my application to use the lamppost in front of my office at 137A Lake Street to hold my sign. Thank you for your consideration of this request." And I gave you folks copies of that.
Any discussion, board?
I can't see how we can honor that request. In the first place, our light posts are going to be occupied on both sides over the summer months, with flower pots on the inside and flags on the outside. It would be clumsy looking to have signs on. Also, I think it would be inappropriate for business to advertise using the decorative light poles downtown.
Besides that, hanging over the sidewalk.
Hang on the sidewalks or,
Yeah,
or
or
actually out in the road. Does the gentleman not have enough room on his property? Oh, that's your sir?
Thank you, yes.
Okay.
Thank you. No, the way the building is set back, if you ran it the way most of the signs are on Lake Street, you could hardly see it. Right now, I have the sign in the ground. I have Charlie Babby's permission to put it there because that's actually his land. Otherwise, we're going to have to drill through the concrete and the blacktop, and it's going to be a fairly extensive operation to do that, expensive, I think, as well. I saw the lamppost, it's in a perfect position. Wasn't being used. I know that from time to time municipalities do rent out their property. I would certainly pay a fair rental for it. The drawing that my sign maker did, I think, is in good taste. It's in keeping with the rest of the neighborhood as well. And it's just basically moving it from the ground, where it kind of looks more like a for sale sign, to a place where you can see that the service is being offered. It's not an advertisement, as you mentioned it not be, per se.
I still have the concern over so much stuff being on them, because we aren't, we haven't seen it yet, but by Memorial Day, we're going to have an American and a Canadian flag coming up toward the top of them, and on the inside we'll have flower pots hanging. I don't know how other board members feel about it. That's just my opinion.
My personal opinion, I think we're opening up a can of worms if we do that. Everybody will want to hang a sign on it. They'll say, we allowed that gentleman to do it, why can't I do it? And then we have stressed constantly of not posting any signs on any of our aluminum or decorative poles.
That's true.
So you're saying hanging off your building would be too far back to one
So I
side?
don't-
Yeah, I believe that you couldn't see it from the road. It wouldn't make that much of a difference, unless it protruded from the building quite some distance. And when I looked at the sign ordinance, it seemed that wouldn't be approved.
What about just inside of the sidewalk on your property? I know you'd have to get on, do some blacktop and maybe cement, I don't know what's under there.
Yeah.
Drill a hole down through, I know they got
Yeah, well,
pavement drills that can do that kind of a thing.
probably could do that. It would certainly be more expensive, you know. I thought I'd ask the city to see if the village, if they might entertain it. Most of the other properties, they seem to be closer to the sidewalk so that an extension, horizontal extension from the roof line seems to work. I guess you need to have a certain amount, 10 feet, is it, clearance underneath the sidewalk before you can put a sign up?
I can't answer that question. I can't.
I believe we followed the sign ordinance.
You know, under the zoning,
Off the top of my head, no. Had I seen this, I probably could have given you an answer. I know you have to be 5 feet off the village right of way for any sign. Anything closer than that requires a variance, area variance. There's a 3 and 10 foot clause in there between 3 foot of the ground and 10 foot up. If it's in the line of
Right.
sight, it can't be in there. Other than that, I don't think there's any other issues.
5 foot back from the road.
From the village right away. And the road, I believe, most village roads are 50-foot right away. That's a state road. They may have more in there, I'm not sure. We have to check.
Okay, well, I guess we'll,
and inside that sidewalk, I don't think would be a problem.
No.
It's a 5-foot sidewalk,
Yeah.
and then you got that space in the road, he would be within the right of way, you know, without a problem there.
so just as long as we stay to the east of the sidewalk, I
Yeah.
think we'd be okay.
Might be a good idea to check with the state on it first, so to make sure that, you don't have to redo it sometime. Because that is a state, it's probably either 60 or 75 feet, isn't it?
Yeah, it's usually 66 feet wide for the state, so it's 33 feet from the center line. The road is state DOTs, they better check with them too if you're gonna be doing something inside the right of way.
Inside the sidewalk.
They have some requirement that it be a break-off pole or something in case a car were to hit it.
Maybe I'll just put a big flagpole at the top on the roof.
Check with the code enforcement.
And the next letter we have is from Sean Shagno, Secretary to Montgomery Hose Hook and Ladder Company Number 1. It's addressed to the Mayor and Village Trustees. We wish to inform you of new members who have been approved to our company for a probationary period of 6 months. Eric Lapierre, a member with restrictions, 43 State Street, Rouses Point. Kaylee Pasno, a member with restrictions, 51 Chapman Street, Rouses Point. Peggy Sorrell, 230 Lake Street, Rouses Point. And they're asking that we act on these members as soon as possible.
Peggy would be a
When we
permanent.
approve,
Pardon me?
Peggy would be a permanent member. The last
Yes.
one you said.
Yes.
move we approve.
Second.
Moved by trustee Huckrow, seconded by trustee Penfield. Any discussion? There being no discussion, all those in favor, vote by usual sign of aye.
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 Those opposed, motion carried. Reports of the mayor and trustees. I need a motion from the board to renew the contract with Earth Science Engineering for the year. We've already approved the budget figure.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Motion by trustee Huckrow, seconded by trustee Moore. Roll call vote. Trustee Huckrow.
Aye.
Trustee Penfield.
Aye.
Trustee Moore.
Aye.
I abstain. I have to sign it. Requested an executive session for pending litigation.
Second.
Okay. Roll call vote. Trustee Huckrow.
Aye.
Trustee Penfield.
Aye.
Trustee Moore.
Aye.
And the mayor votes aye. And that's it for me tonight, I believe, yes. Trustee Huckrow.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. First item is an update on the 4th of July celebration. And Phil, pick up if I miss, and it won't be very long, but we're about where we are supposed to be, I guess, at this time. All plans are go. The only thing that we're not going to be able to do again this year is the car show, and we're doing that now before we get ourselves in trouble later on by advertising and not being able to hold it. We just don't have enough people to help man the effort, so we decided it's best not to have it. Unfortunately, we can't because it's a big crowd drawer. Maybe folks will look at it another year. And we are still looking for a carnival. I know one of our committee members is looking for as small as a 2-piece carnival to get into town. But if we don't, we do have plenty of activities for people. A lot of young people activities all day Saturday and some on Sunday afternoon also. The teen dance on Friday night and a concert here on Friday night, and then food booths and activities and whatever down in the field. Friday evening, Saturday afternoon, evening, and Sunday afternoon, at least up until parade time. Looks like we have, 6 or 7 musical units for the band, for the parade again this year. And we're still looking for participants for floats and marching units and so on. I think they sent out, I can't even give you the number now of invitations to people in Canada, since this year our theme is Friends Across the Border, and we're co-celebrating with Canada, and especially because the first day of our celebration is Canada Day. And I know the community singers and the Straw Hatters are using a lot of Canadian American songs for the program. And what else, Phil?
We have our parade and fireworks on Sunday.
Parade and fireworks on Sunday, parade at 7 o'clock and fireworks at dusk. Pretty much the same as it has been the last few years. Looking forward to a good celebration. Maple Street's done this year. Champlain Street is done this year, so we're going to be able to follow the old route all the way around, and people won't get stones in their shoes as they're walking. It looks like a good celebration. I hope that we have 50,000 people show up. Well, that's all on that. And I'm going to withdraw the request for an executive session, Mr. Mayor.
Okay.
And that's all I have, sir.
Thank you, Trustee Huckrow. Trustee Penfield.
Doug, give an update for us on the sewer project? Anything new?
Just not too much new, just more punch list work and restoration. On the outfall, we finished off getting the information needed to get the easement from OGS. We got the surveyors here. We had dove out and put a buoy at the end of the pipeline, and then we went out in a canoe afterwards and had the reflector glass so that the surveyor could shoot us. And so that paperwork was sent down to Albany on Friday. And so that should be the last piece so that the funding can go forward. Max 2 continues its restoration. As you see, they're working on the post fence over in front of Consolidated Apparel and PowerTex. And the owners have talked with us about some issues they had, and we're addressing those. And Eric Schwenke will be on site Wednesday to take care of those personally. And behind Shazy Hardware, there's still a catch basin to go in so that we can finish tightening up that easement. And that was supposed to be here last Wednesday. Now it's supposed to be here this Wednesday, so hopefully it'll be here so we can finish off that piece. Sheehan and their work out at the sewer plant. Eric Schwenke went with a walkthrough with Ernie to just note some items that aren't to Ernie's satisfaction, and we're addressing those. And also on Wednesday, Eric will be meeting with Lori Batty to discuss her issues about restoration north of Sandy's Deli and along the back spot property. So it's lots of small stuff. Any questions?
Thank you. The second item I have, I believe, is the final paperwork on change order number 1 for contract number 5 on our sewage system improvements for the Sheehan Contracting Corporation. I believe that at a couple of separate meetings, items 1 and 2 were approved, and item 3 was also approved at a different meeting. I think 1 and 2 on the 18th of April, and item number 3, combination of March 21st and April 4th. Is that correct, Phil?
Yes, I believe
So this appears to be just the final paperwork for those change orders that we've already done. The trunk sewer modifications, my understanding is that is only the portion that's behind the village office.
That's right.
Okay. And the other 2 were from our last meeting that we approved for them to do. So I'd like to make a motion that we authorize the mayor to sign this change order. And I know it's been been okay to pay by Eric, so everything seems to be in order.
Second.
Motion by trustee Penfield, seconded by trustee Huckrow. Roll call vote. Trustee Huckrow.
Aye.
Trustee Penfield.
Aye.
Trustee Moore.
Aye.
And the mayor votes aye.
And we hope that this is the last one.
Yeah.
That's all I have for tonight.
Oh, thank you, trustee Penfield. Trustee Moore, you are doing trustee Jefferson?
Yes, I am. Got one thing. Whereas certain customers' electric amount are deemed uncollectible by the village, and whereas it's advisable to write these accounts off our books. Therefore, be it resolved that the attached list of electrical accounts is written off, effective May 31st, 2005, in the amount of $6,540.91. I'd like to make that the motion.
Second.
Sorry. Moved by trustee Moore, seconded by trustee Penfield. Is there any discussion?
It's good we have a payment today. Right, Arsen?
Sorry.
No matter how small, it's still good.
Roll call vote. No discussion, roll call vote. Trustee Huckrow.
No.
Trustee Penfield.
Aye.
Trustee Moore.
Aye.
I gotta vote aye, whether I want to or not, so it passes. No, I have to agree with John. Every year I irk at doing this. This is not right. But,
And every year, somebody's got to vote.
yes, you're right.
I will say the amount is a lot lower than it has
It's
been.
quite a bit lower. That, I think that's the lowest one in 5 times that I've
I didn't go
voted
back
for it.
and look, but it's
Yeah. So,
Is that it for?
That's all I got for Brian and myself.
Wow. Thank you, trustee Moore.
oh, easy.
Yeah.
Usually do.
Bill?
I just have one item. We've never done this before, but I'm just more comfortable in doing this. Every year, we issue to the treasurer, it's a tax warrant authorizing him to collect taxes. It's authorized by the mayor and attested to by me. And the wording in this at the end, it says, "In witness whereof the Board of Trustees of said Village of Rouses Point has caused these present to be signed by its mayor." Because it's saying that in the acclamation at the bottom, I'm asking for someone to move that the mayor be authorized to sign the tax warrant.
You got it.
Moved by trustee Huckrow. Someone's got a second.
I don't know, I don't know what it is, so I don't have a copy.
You don't have
I didn't
No.
give you a copy.
We gotta collect it. We gotta collect the taxes. Just what everybody likes to hear.
So, Phil, can you say one more time what you just said about the last paragraph?
The very last, it says, "The Board of Trustees of said Village of Rouses Point has caused these present to be signed by its mayor and the clerk." Well, it says the Board of Trustees. This has never been done in the form of a motion
Oh, I see what
before.
you mean. Okay.
And
I
in
see.
reading it this year, when I was preparing it, I just would feel more comfortable if it was done that way.
Yeah, I don't blame you. Okay.
You seconding it?
I think Jim
I already
did.
did.
Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't hear it. I'm sorry. Seconded by trustee Moore. Huh? Don't you start tonight. Any discussion? You need a roll call on this?
We should.
Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carried.
That's all I have, sir.
Thank you, Phil. Arsen?
I need to have someone entertain a motion to give us authorization to publish a legal notice regarding the collection of taxes.
You got it.
Second.
Moved by trustee Huckrow, seconded by trustee Penfield. Any discussion? There being no discussion, all those in favor vote by your sign of aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carried.
The only other thing I have is that we sent out a press release regarding the budget billing on May 4th. It just gives customers with a 2-year clear record an opportunity to spread out their electric and water and sewer payments over a 12-month period. And that program is open until May 27th. Anybody's interested in that. You have to have a 2-year clear record. And it's based upon your previous year's usage and the projected kilowatt costs, including supplemental power charge. Estimated is paid in 11 payments, and the remaining month may used to reconcile the payments. So as of May 27th, it won't be allowed to be for 2006.
Thank you, sir. Is that it?
Yes.
Becky?
All set.
Thank you. Mike?
All set.
Melissa?
Not quite all set, George. It won't take long, though. I have a quick update for the board. Good news, the Army Corps of Engineers permit has finally arrived, which means that we can get it to Parks and Rec with the plans, get hopefully that reviewed and approved, and get out to bid. I'm hoping within a month. I think they have 30 days to review the plans once they get them. But with any luck, we will be able to get out to bid next month. On the Main Street grant, I spoke to Scott Campbell from Friends of the North Country. They are working on the administrative plan, which is basically our blueprint for how we'll administer the funds. That's necessary to get the contract with the state. We should have a copy of that, a draft in-house to review next week for the board and the staff to review before we finalize it. We are looking at a meeting in June 8th, if that's acceptable to everyone, a public meeting in the evening to talk to the residents and property owners who are interested in taking part in the Main Street program. I thank you for approving my travel down to Saratoga on Thursday last week. I was able to sit in on the EPF workshops. I attended the one held by Parks and Recreation because of the historic preservation application we're considering for the D&H. I also, since we finished early, was able to go into the local waterfront program that was run by Department of State. As a result of that, I'd like to recommend 2 applications, and I will get you additional information on this. The first would be the one that we've talked about for the D&H station. What I'm proposing is that we sit down between the village and the Historical Society and calculate what we could come up with in match with the value of the building, the money that the village would like to allocate, the in-kind services that we could allocate, same thing for the Historical Society, the money they have, any volunteer labor that we expect, and I think we're expecting significant volunteer labor once we can get into the building. And whatever dollar amount we arrive at for that, we ask for the matching money from Parks and Recreation. So we would be talking about something that wouldn't require any more of a cash outlay than the village would like to plan on for 2006. That would also include money for architectural services because if we decide to retain Carl Stearns or any other architect the village would like, we'll have to factor in some money for design because it is such an old building. You want to get someone with that kind of special skill. So that would be the main application with the board's approval. And maybe, I don't know if Mayor Rivers and Trustee Penfield, you'd like to sit down on the village's part or whomever you'd like to have, but maybe we can arrange that meeting with the Historical Society in the next couple of weeks so we can get some funding ideas. The second application is basically a resubmit on the QC application we submitted in February. It was a relatively small application. It was $50,000 for zoning code revisions, investigating, creating a community development corporation so that we could submit our own grant applications if they have to come from a nonprofit. Some design money for Montgomery streetscape projects. This was the recommendation that came from Department of State. I think it's an excellent one for the village. I think we could use a breather to get our boat launch project done, settle our park and pier project, get that under construction, finish our planning, and then if additional projects come out of that plan, we'll see how we've settled out with the projects in process. So if the board is comfortable with that approach, I'll start working on those applications. They are due at the end of June again. Does that?
Not much time.
No. No. Does it help if the second one is a resubmittal?
Oh, well, it's going to help me tremendously because it's basically just trying to calculate what we could do as match. The unfortunate part is that QC grant was 100%. This is 50-50, but we can offer a lot of what we were going to be reimbursed for as salaries, we can offer that as match. So, Mike's hours, my hours, maybe the attorney's hours,
could be looked at as match on that. So we shouldn't need a cash outlet, I'm thinking, and I'll get back to you on that by the next board meeting. So with the board's okay, I'll just plan on going ahead with that. The Montgomery Street survey proposal that we put out came in quite a bit higher than we expected. Unfortunately, both of the surveyors who had done previous work did not bid. We only received one proposal. And so as a result, none of them could use any of the existing work, and it came out quite a bit higher than we expected. I would recommend that we just hold that. If we absolutely need something done, we have the numbers. But until we're sure we have another grant award, and this would either be a match or a covered expense, I wouldn't recommend that we spend the $7,000 and change that those new surveys came in for. As long as that's okay with the board. And we are planning an insert in the electric bill for June 1st. And there are 2 dates that I wanted to run by you. The first was the June 8th Main Street meeting, because we'd like to notify the public that that is coming up. And I think on that we'll also probably should get some letters out to the property owners with the board's approval. It's just a specific notification about the Main Street grant meeting. And the other date is Monday, July 25th for another public meeting to report on the downtown and waterfront planning process. And that night, Alon would be here to share results from the visioning, the conclusions they're reaching from their market analysis, the concept plan for the waterfront park and pier, and also their preliminary ideas for the design guidelines and the physical enhancement plan, the vignettes for the gateways and so on. So if that date is good for everyone, we thought we'd stay away from the 4th of July because people tend to travel, but definitely want to get it in July. Thank you. Then we'll have a you'll see that in the something coming out in the electric bills. The final item I have is that Alon has continued to work on the concept plan for the park and pier. They do have a concept that they are refining to present to the steering committee and the board on Monday night. And you can expect a memo in your mailbox clarifying some of the issues that were raised at the April meeting. We've tried to address some of the kind of loose issues that were out there that night, so we can kind of put some of those things to rest and move in more on and finalize the concept plan. So if you have any questions on any of those things, please just give me a call.
Yes, Carl Stern's basic engineering report. When we expect to have that?
Oh, when I spoke to him last week, he was working on it. I really would like to have it so I can use it in the grant application. So he knows it's a priority item for us, and I'm going to call him back and see if we could have a specific date, because it's going to have a sketch, basically an as-built drawing of the station, and it's going to have specific recommendations. And really, this is what we've needed. It's a plan of attack for us to put in the grant application.
June 8th meeting. Is that you have to require the board to be there?
I think that's optional. Certainly,
I'll be out of town that day. I don't think you'll be back.
Okay.
I'm gone from the 7th of June to the 15th.
Okay. All right. You'll have had a chance before to review the administrative plan. So basically, it'll be Scott Campbell from Friends explaining it to people and answering any questions that they have. So if you'd like, we could move it back another week.
It's not necessary to move it. Just if you require me to be there, then it's going to. You'll have to move it, but otherwise not.
Okay.
Well, the meeting on Monday night, is that considered a joint meeting or just a steering committee meeting? Because if it's going to be a meeting with the board, we have to declare a special meeting and announce it.
When's that? Next Monday?
Next Monday is I believe a joint meeting. We're asking everyone to get
So
together.
we'll do a meeting notice then for that? And what about June 8th then?
No. You only have 3 board members here.
Well, that's all enough. If they're there, we field the team.
That's true.
So you want to do that announcement as well?
She said it wasn't necessary for June 8th.
I won't be here anyways.
You, okay then, so just
you're
the
going
meeting
to-
for the
you're going.
23rd, okay.
No, but you got other stuff going on, so.
For that night, I think anyone is welcome, but it'll be basically rehashing the administrative plan. Do you need the report on the D&H before we can put together the amount that we'd like to match, that we're able to match, to apply for, or?
I don't think so.
I mean, how do you estimate volunteer labor and that kind of thing without knowing what's available for us to do?
But it would be good to have as soon as I can.
As soon as we can, definitely.
Right.
But I think that if we can't, if we don't have those specific items, see, I'm thinking that those things that he's writing about will probably be going out to bid. The masonry repairs, the roof, those will probably be items that our volunteers would just as soon have a contractor do, is my sense.
But even the condition of the interior of the building, is he reporting on that? Or?
Yes, oh yes, he is. And so he's going to give us a plan of attack to get anything out that we need to. And in talking to him the day he was here, I was much more optimistic about the lead paint issues, and he did not seem to see them in the same alarming terms that some of the contractors did that we talked to.
I guess my real question is, even when we meet with the Historical Society, who establishes what they are able to do?
Well,
Where-
I think that we need to talk to Dick Baker and the people that he is going to be working with. The nice thing is they can bill, like Dick can bill out at whatever he would charge for
Right.
contracting. So those hours add up pretty quickly. As you know, I'm meeting with a group on Wednesday night. I'm speaking to a group who may have volunteer hours available for us. They're going to do, hopefully they're going to be willing to entertain a project outside this summer, but that could carry over into work in the interior. So, it's always kind of a guessing game. But I'm thinking that we might do the masonry and the roof with OPRHP monies, but then get the volunteers working on the interior in a separate project. Work, clearing the walls, that kind of thing.
Any other questions? Thanks, Melissa.
Thank you.
Open meeting up to public at this time?
I'd like to add something I forgot to mention. We're having interviews Wednesday for the Director of Emergency Services position. We have 3 people we're interviewing. Jim King has retired, so we're doing the interviews Wednesday.
Thank you, Celine. Somebody like to address this board at this time and take a motion for recess. Trustee Moore.
Second.
Trustee Penfield.